Shalom Akim, Shalom Akwathim. Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kradash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I came across this video a few days ago and I wanted to come back to it to revisit it and filter it through the scriptures. And if you're not subscribed to this brother that manages the channel, GMS Word of Life, I would recommend you subscribe to his channel. He's consistently and perpetually uploading videos of what the scriptures refer to them as the chariots of Israel, but the world calls them what? UFOs. But nevertheless, I'm have this queued up for you. I'm going to allow it to play. I'm going to loop it while I segue through these various scriptures, right? Because this is what salvation is going to look like for us should we be of the elect. But for the 2/3 and the rest of the heathens that are here in America, aka Babylon the Great, this is what their destruction is going to look like. How do we know? Let's get right into these scriptures here. It tells us in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 1 through 7, it tells us that Ezekiel saw this in the ancient world. Remember, the power we serve, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let's read. Let's start here in verse 1. It tells us, in my 13th year, in the 4th month, of the 5th day, I was among the exiles by the Kebar River. The heavens were open, and I saw visions of the Most High. On the 5th month, it was the 5th year of the exile of King Jehoiachin. And let me stop right there very quickly, because part of the curses is that not only we will be taken into captivity, but also our king too as well. I know that was a hot topic that comes up from time to time, but King Jehoiachin was taken into captivity. Let me share a few facts with you about him very quickly, right? He also went by Jeconiah, also Coniah, and as Jehoiachin was the 19th and penultimate king of Judah, who was dethroned by the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar II, in the 6th century. So again, he was one of many kings that went into captivity along with the house of Israel as well. All right. But continuing on with verse 3, the word of the Lord came to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, by the Kebar River in the land of the Babylonians. Why is that? Because they were in the Babylonian captivity. There the hand of the Lord was on him. I looked, and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal. Is that not what we're looking at here? All right. Continuing on with verse 5. And in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. You can't get lost in when it states they had 4 faces. It's just going into their different characteristics, if you will. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, right? Esau Edom was referred to what as a snake, but it was actually a literal man, right? It stated that he was more subtle than all the creatures of the earth, okay? It is talking about their 4 characteristics, if you will. They didn't have 4 literal faces, all right? But reading on at verse 7, it tells us their legs were straight. Their feet were like those of a calf, and they gleamed like burnished bronze, meaning these were all so-called black men here. Let me come out of this. When it states they had feet like calf, they just had on shoes of the cloven footed, okay? They didn't have legs like a horse or a giraffe or a deer. But nevertheless, let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. You know, because Isaiah, he had the same vision that Ezekiel had too as well. That's why he wrote this. In Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15, it tells us, for behold, the Lord in all caps is Yahweh, will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger and fury and rebuke with flames of fire. On that day when the Lord visits the earth, not only is he bringing destruction and going to wreak havoc, but it's also going to be laser beams, just like in that movie War of the Worlds, coming out of those chariots, bringing upon destruction upon America, aka Babylon the Great. And now you should be asking yourself, has this occurred in the past in other places as well? Yes, it has. Consider what's written in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 2, verse 9 through 11. Consider what happened with the prophet Elijah. It states here, when they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, Tell me, what can I do for you before I am taken from you? Listen to what he said. Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit, Elisha replied. You have asked a difficult thing, Elijah said. Yet, if you see me when I am taken from you, it will be yours. Otherwise, it will not. This is the point here, verse 11. As they were walking along together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them. And Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. And that, what you see here, paying Salakia, just a little excited in the spirit. What you see here playing in the background, that's what came and took Elijah away. When the scriptures refer to the chariots as horses, it's talking about what? The UFOs, the chariots of Israel. Let me come out of this here, right? Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 15 through 17. Now, sometimes it will say chariots and horses, but you have to discern through the scriptures in other places. When chariots and horses come up, it can be talking about literal chariots and horses. And it's also talking about, at other places, the chariots of Israel, as I mentioned a moment ago. And we'll see an example of this in 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 15 through 7. And it reads here, when the servant of the man of the Most High got up and went out early the next morning, an army of horses and chariots had surrounded the city. Now, that's talking about a literal army of horses and chariot with soldiers and so forth, all right? And reading on, it states, "Oh no, my lord, what shall we do?" the servant asked. He replied, "Don't be afraid." The prophet answered, "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire around Elisha. And you know what he saw? The Lord opened his eyes, his spiritual eyes. So he saw that they were surrounded by what? The angels, the chariots of the Lord. You know, that's why Elisha said there are more with us than there are surrounding this city right now. Okay? And we also have to know that through the spirit, that the chariots and the angels are always there. You know, the scriptures tell us that the eyes are of the Lord, which are the angels, are in every place, beholding what? The evil and the good. There's another scripture that states the eyes of the Lord are upon what? The sinful kingdom. Let's continue on, right? One more scripture I wanted to bring out, well, two more actually. In the book of Revelation, the 10th chapter and the first verse, it states, "And I saw another mighty angel that came down from heaven, clothed with a cloud." A cloud is what? A UFO. "And a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were like the sun, and his feet were pillars of fire." I saw this other video, Akim, that I had to tie into this particular lesson here, right? You can see it here. And look, I'm going to let both of these play at the same time. You see that? You see, in the book of Revelation, that chariot had a different form with different colors. In the book of Ezekiel, that chariot had a different form and in different colors. See, this is what the scriptures are referring to as the clouds, as that gleaming fire wrapped in a rainbow. Matter of fact, let me go back to that precept one more time. In the book of Revelation, I got to read it one more time. I can bear with me 1 second. 1 second. Revelation, the 10th chapter and the first verse. "And I saw another mighty angel that came down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet was as pillars of fire." And that's what John the Revelator saw when he saw that angel coming down from the heavens, all right? And that's why we'll end here in the book of Isaiah, chapter 25, verse 9, and it tells us, "And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our power. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is the Lord in all caps again is Yahweh. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation." Akim, we have a lot to look forward to. You know, as the Akim says all the time, keep pushing, keep believing, keep the faith, for our redemption draweth nigh. Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Shalom.